Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Pit Stop. I'm here on my own as Tom has been fixing a tractor on a farm, so he's actually making his way back. So rather than make you wait, I thought I'd do it on my own tonight. But I do have a driver standing by that is going to have a chat with us. Mr. One and only Thomas Wangen, our current leader in the pro category. So he'll be joining me for a chat a little bit later on. But last round, Barcelona, I think it was an excellent race. A lot of the drivers hadn't really used that track, certainly the historical layout. And I think it was extremely good for them to get out there, and I'm pretty sure the drivers are telling, and we'll see what you're saying in the chat as well, of how you found Barcelona. I think a lot of drivers were surprised about it. It's one of them tracks that are not really used that much on iRacing, but I think it's a fantastic track. I think it's got everything. It's got the fast corners. It's got a pretty long, decent start-finish straight, but a very technical midsection. And we certainly saw that on Sunday, you know, the differences between the two cars. With very much a dominant display from the Porsches, which you would have come to expect because the Porsches are very good on the brakes, good off the exit of the corners. But one of the cars that probably surprised me the most was the Mercedes. The Mercedes was a very good car. Normally on the straight, I don't really normally associate it with tight, twisty tracks, but seem to do really well on in Barcelona. So, you know, there's many layers to that onion, which is the Mercedes, the car of choice for that. But certainly the Porsche was, and we saw a very good win for Scott Mokes as well out in Spain, his very first one in the Porsche. So we'll have a look at the points tonight, then we'll have a chat with Thomas, and then we'll have a look at the penalties from the round. I'll be doing them on my own, so obviously I'll be having a look and seeing what you guys think of what I can see, but I'll be playing it as I am, unless Tom can make it back by miraculous means. He's probably speeding back at the moment on track. Or on the road, should I say. You probably wish he was on track. But I thought we'll first start off with having a look at the current championship. So the... Good evening all guys. I see Lars Sorensen's in there. Zach Lawrenson, who is one of our new drivers to the grid. So welcome, Zach, to the pit stop. And Tom Savage there as well. So thanks for joining me, guys. But I thought we'll have a quick look at the points. Obviously, the drop rounds have been affected in the point standings, and looking at the pros, Thomas Wangen, who we're going to have a chat with in a minute, currently leading the way on 58 with his teammate Neil Eric Isaacson in second place. Daniel Sedgley of Olympus Esports Redstone there in third place, only 3 points, shall I say, behind Neil Eric Isaacson. And after his win out at Barcelona, Scott moves up 1 position to P4 overall, 44. Still has to make up a little bit of ground to the front 3 runners at the moment, but I suppose if there's a man that can, Scott is that person. And then we look further back, Michael obviously went up from the Pro-Ams last season in season 1, moved up into this season into the Pro, is currently gone up 1 place to P5. Katiel Larson down to 6th place on 38, the same points as Michael. So they are tied for 4th at the moment. And there's a bit of a drop off with Lars Sorensen there in 7th place, up 1 position. Arias Jomantas up 2 positions. Nikolai Thrain down 2 positions. Obviously wasn't out at Barcelona. And Thomas Cope, who's going to be dipping in and dipping out of races for the season, as we had a chat with him last week. He can't really make the rest of the season, or can't commit with the, I suppose, the level that Thomas and his team at IGL Coatings have put in, and really wanted to put on a good show. So decided to step back a little bit from the performance thing, still doing all the pictures and everything like that. So for the league, so really appreciate that. Let's have a look at the Pro-Am. I mean, the Pro-Am for me is probably the biggest and the hotly contested championship within Performance Link Season 2. We've seen it in the last 2 races. it's like almost like a procession train that's going out on track with these Pro-Ams. They're extremely close, and you know, it's providing some excellent races. But currently at the top has got Lee King McGee, 52 points, with Casper Tungster there in second place on 48, so only 4 points behind Lee King McGee. Lee had a decent round at last one, but it was really, I think, that the endurance round for Lee, you know, I think he was well on course to win that. Obviously, his world famous F1 incident, or an F1 driver incident, which he quite likes to say, I'm pretty sure, and that's going to be his claim to fame. But he's still riding high at the top of the Pro-Ams on 52. In third place, we've got James Logston, after a great win out last time out, and it's just a little bit of a disappointment. We saw James there at the top of the standing all the way up until that endurance round, a pretty terrible endurance round, which is probably the ones you don't want to have a hiccup at, because they're the ones that have got the big points on. We've got 3 in the season. We've had our first one at Road America, and then we got the next one coming up, which is the Nürburgring GP in about 3 weeks time for them, so hopefully it is. But what it does do, it gives him someone to chase, because he has certainly been one of the dominant drivers at the moment in the Pro-Am division, but currently down there in third place. Kim Andre Bortland in fourth place, was second going into Barcelona after that excellent win in his endurance round, in Road America. Really catapulted him up the standings, but he is on equal points. In fact, there's 3 drivers there. You can see Michael Goff from the AKM Racing team, Sim Racing Norway, Kim Andre Bortland, and Team Bear Pope, James Logston, all tied on 45 points, so all equal third at the moment in that championship. Just see how close it is. Then you look down to 6th place from Christopher Otterholt from IGL Coatings by Sunday Traffic Skull in 42 points. So I mean, you look all the way down. I think that the biggest gap is between 8th and 9th, between Alexander Square and Russ Fowler of 8 points. But from 8th all the way up to first place, it's 12 points is the difference between that. So that's how you can see how hotly contested that Pro-Am field is on track. But looking at the AMs, we've got Tom Savage at the moment on top, flying high, 60 points, 7 points ahead of Simeon Moldeklev. And we saw Simeon had one of them rounds again, the hit and miss rounds that we come to see Simeon have. I think it was 6 overall. He came in that AM field, did have a few incidents out on track, but Tom seems to be fun, and he was phenomenal in Barcelona, winning that race, and in, like I was saying, in the Mercedes, did an excellent job. Literally decimated the Anfield. Was probably around about, I think, if I think off the top of my head, around about 15 seconds ahead of second place in that race. Then we got in third place Stefan Anderson on 46 points. Then Gordon Haig 39, Patrick Wilt 36. Shamapon Asavon in 35, Jimmy Vark and 7th on 34. So from sort of round about 5th down to 8th place, you know, they're quietly contested by sort of like 1 point difference, but at the top, Tom seems to be doing an exceptional job and running out front. So it's he's certainly got that target on his back for the rest of the field to try and catch up on. Then we look over to the rookie class. Nicholas Gronstrom at the moment is leading the way in the rookie class on 57 points, with Sam Curran hot on his tails, 3 points behind in second place from Team Bear Pope. Olympus Esports by Ari. Paul Joseph Clist in third on 51, so only 3 points behind Sam Curran. So the top 3 at the moment I've got a little bit of a buffer over Ian Heatherbury in 4th place on 47 points, but I mean, that's so easy. It's 4 points in the difference between 3rd and 4th of getting into that top 3 positions, and I think Ian was Tom's choice for the season out on track, so it's going to be interesting to look at that. Torben Miley in 5th place in the McLaren on 38 points, so not that far, a little bit, around about 9 points behind Ian Heatherbury. But the thing is with the rookies, as we mentioned on Sunday, is having that consistent point scoring. I mean, there's nothing taking nothing away from the guys being in the rookie class, but they're still learning the craft. You got the pros that are battling quite hard, and you can see the difference in times from lap times are like tenths of a second or 2/10 of a second. Whereas you look at the gaps from the rookies, some of the rookies will have decent tracks, some of them will have, you know, not really knowing the tracks that they're currently racing on. So you do find that difference in speed or timing in a lap quite large in the rookie class. So it's all about keeping that consistent points, and it's so easy for the top drivers to move down by having a really bad round, certainly if they've got 2 low scores already in the drop round scores that the drivers have. So they're playing with a knife edge that if they have one more poor round, they could be at the top of the grid, and then all of a sudden they find themselves at the bottom. But all hotly contested championship. We've only done 5 rounds, so we go into round 6 this Sunday at Imola, which a lot of the drivers I'm seeing on the chat are, I suppose, what can we say? They're finding it quite hard with the off tracks. So this may be one of the tracks that we may see a few of the drivers actually taking a drive-through penalty by going over the incident levels. But only time we'll see. And if we have a look at the teams, let's have a look at who's leading overall in the team. So it's RGL Coating, Iracing by Sunday Traffic Skull. Probably not one. It's probably not surprising that they're at the top of the standing. Certainly when you got the likes of Thomas Wangen, who seems to be doing really well in that pro field. Niels Erik Isaacson as well in that team, flying high at the top. So, you know, they are currently the leaders on 161, with Team Bear Pope in second place on 155. Team Bear Pope 0 there in third place on 155. So the two Team Bear Popes hotly on the heels of the IGL Coating E-Racing by a Sunday Traffic Skull team. Then we go back to fourth place, our Sim Racing Norway, our Season 1 team champions. They're in fourth place on 142. And then we got Olympus Esports RA in fifth place on 137, with Team Cotterbull Racing on sixth place on 137, with Dame Racing in seventh on 136. So extremely still close, and the difference between the teams to the normal rounds is that all rounds count for the team championship. But it's where we were saying about the RGL Coatings team, is that if one of them has a bad day, the other ones in the team make up. Same with the Team Bear Pope. You know, one of the Team Bear Pope, if they have a bad day, and that's why it's the beauty of having 4 team members in different classes, that if one person has a bad day, then there's 3 other drivers to make up on that one. So at the moment, IGL Coated E-Racing by Trande Scuffgoal is leading the way out on the team championship. So it's a hotly contested one, and you can see there at the moment the top three teams there are slightly starting to run away with it a little bit, but then it's congested in that midfield for that fourth place. But like I say, you know, if you have a bad round and 3 out of your 4 drivers score poorly or don't score at all, then again that can change. And that's the beauty of the point system we've got in this championship. It's not based on overall finishing positions, it's based on overall finishing positions in the class. So if you could be 6th place overall on the grid, but having some pro-ams in front of you, you could be 2nd place in pro, so you score the 2nd place points. And we've seen it with the pros, like spread out over all the way down to P30, but the guy in P30 is still like 7th in class or 6th in class, so still scores half decent points on there. The team championship, the way that runs is it's based on the highest 2 scorers within their own class. So, you know, if you got the winner of the pro and a 2nd place in the pro, but then you got a winner in the rookies, then you get 2 first place to go towards your team scores on that. So that's how the team points work out overall. But that's it there. Now let's have a look, and that's the points where we stand after 5 rounds. There's still plenty of racing to go. We're just about to get into halfway into the 12-round season, so we're just about to reach a halfway point, but still loads of races still to go. But without further ado, let's have a look at bringing our pro leader at the moment into the box, and we'll have a chat with him. So let's bring him in. Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the podcast, mate. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Hello. And I can see your dedication there, playing on your sim rig whilst chatting to us, and that's always good. But I always like to start off with asking how long you've been getting into iRacing. What rig did you start off with? And then explain that monster of a rig that we've seen on the stream that you currently race with.
I started with iRacing in 2018. I started with the T500 from Trustmaster and place it. So I changed to Fanatec, and a couple of my friends told me you can't have that one. You need to have a DD. First of all, I changed my pedals from regular pedals you can have with Trustmasters to a load cell that works much better on iRacing. You can have more stability in your braking if you don't have ABS, of course. Yeah, and now hell of a rig, yes. What can I say? It's a dream come true.
What is it? So we've sort of seen it on the streams. Is it 3 32 inches screens you've got?
I have 3 32 inches, 27 inches, so as my fourth monitor on top. I have 6.8 inches PC monitor, that's watch my PC working. I have a dashboard in front of me, it's 4.3. I have a stream deck, controls everything on my PC, everything on my car, everything iRacing. I have a shift light, tell me everything, spotter as well. If I have a car left, it blinks left, and a car right blinks right. And I have a cube control rod, GT style. And I have a VRS base and a VRS pedals, and I have a house and curl e-brake.
So quite a formidable setup there. I think it's probably been the biggest setup we've seen on the podcast at the moment. I mean, 6 screens, is that a little bit excessive?
A little bit too exclusive, yes, but I feel it necessary because my PC cost about 10 grand, and that means a lot for me. I worked very hard to get there, so if anything is wrong with that one, I just completely alt F4 escape from everything, and my PC is the.
It's a pretty impressive setup. We've seen it on when you put your cameras on for the race. It's just like a wash with lights and probably having a really great view. But I suppose it's one of them sports that's still cheaper than buying a GT3 car, which are a few more pennies than probably what you sort of spent. But I suppose it's when you get that bug, and we spoke to a few people on this podcast, is that you started off with a Thrustmaster that was probably, I don't know, around about €500 or something like that, maybe a little bit more, and now you're probably into €10,000 worth of equipment that sat around you with a purpose-built rig and stuff like that. Tell us how you get from going from there to where you are. Do you feel that what your setup you got now is it gives you more immersion into the game, it makes you a better driver, and if so, in what way? It's just typing out something there, that. Oh, you disconnected from the voice. Oh, okay, let's see if we can get that sorted. I'm not sure why. Let's have a look. Hi mate, you should be able to hear me back here. I don't know why that happened. You got removed from the booth. Obviously, the booth probably thought that your rig was far too exclusive to be in the comms chat. But no, I was just saying there, mate. I don't know how much you caught, but like I was saying, going from your Thrustmaster that you started off with to the equipment that you currently got around you at the moment, you know, how does that make you, one, a better driver, and two, do you like that for trying to completely immerse yourself into the game?
It's not necessary to have this one. You can make good result with a G29 and
I
a
suppose
single
it's just nice for
monitor.
having it.
Yeah, but I want a real feeling. A real racing is expensive, yes. So this is a cheap edition of real racing.
Right, like we said, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than a Mercedes GT3 car or something like that. And if you crash it, is you're not breaking the bank to do it. But obviously, I can see some garages in your right hand screen there. What are you doing at the moment?
We have 2 days of testing of setup to Imola. We are recently finished with race setup. We have used 200 laps of setup testing, so we are pretty confident the setup is okay. So we are recently, actually, I've done 3 laps of quality testing. So we are trying to make a quality setup for to Sunday's race.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, just take us into that. I mean, how much time, and I mean, we've seen how fast. It's not just yourself; it's your whole team. I mean, you've almost been. I think the last time out in Barcelona was really where we didn't have the supreme dominance in the qualifying from the IGO coatings guy. I think all of you, Lass, Niels, yourself, you sort of lock out that top 3 rows of the grid. I think we see it in the first opening 4 rounds, and it was the last time where Scott got second place. But how much practice and how much tuning of the setups of the cars takes to get the whole team at the top of the class?
It's hard to say. Like Nils Erik, he don't need so much time. He's fast from the sofa. Um, I need 200 laps to get everything okay. Me and Lasse has used yesterday and today's practice to make a setup, and everything counts. Small adjustment has so much to say on tire wear over 35 laps, especially on Catalonia. The tires died after 5 laps, so yeah. I thought I had Mokes when I got 2.5 seconds, but yeah, that was not through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, let's have a look at that. We'll talk about that a bit, but obviously, the first 4 rounds, it's been the Thomas and Niels show with Daniel obviously getting in there as well for Watkins, and then we got to the last round, and Scott, our season 1 pro champion, sort of came out of his shell, like pretty much like he did in round 1, and he really put you under a lot of pressure during that race. You found it was probably more to the car, or do you feel now that Scott is probably one to watch out for in the last six rounds of the championship?
I hope the beast will stand up in Scott for a couple of the next rounds. I have a good fight, especially not my teammate. So I hope Mokes is ready for a fight on Sunday. I will do my best to take him down.
We gotta love the fighting talk here, but no, it's good to see that you've got some sort of competition. That was a great race on Sunday, and like you said, you managed to break that gap to Scott in second place. Got to around about 2.6 seconds ahead, but then all of a sudden something switched him and he started closing you down. But I think that is something to do with the differences in cars. Obviously, your car and the Porsche, which is very good under braking, and we did see. I don't know if you've watched the broadcast back, but we were watching from your car backwards to looking at Scott, and the big places that he was gaining and capturing you at rapid rates of knots were coming into the corners. You know, his braking was a lot less or a lot later than what yours, and you were able to keep the distance on the start finish straight with the grunt of the car that you've got. But then when it came to getting past turn 2 and 3 and through Repsol, that's when the Porsche really came into it. But I suppose Imola has got very much similarities to Barcelona, so it's certainly going to be an interesting race on Sunday, isn't it?
Of course it will be. Yes, this is also a Porsche track. Catalonia was a Porsche track. We knew Scott will be fast on Catalonia, and we actually expect Mercedes as well. But yeah, Imola should be a fast for Mercedes and Audi, I think, and Scott as well. But we will do our best. I think we have done more preparation for this one because I don't show up to get second. So we will do our best to make this happen one more time.
Definitely is. I mean, obviously, I've commentated on yourself in other leagues, and you're very much. I always saw you as, and we chatted about this before the broadcast. I always saw you as the Porsche Cup driver because you were exceptionally good in the Porsche Championship that I commentated on that you were in. You said that this is your first GT3 league. I mean, how have you transitioned from the Porsche Cup car to driving the GT3 and being exceptionally fast at it, or is just a natural talent?
I think if you can drive the Porsche Cup, you can almost drive everything on iRacing. But on the GT3 car, you need to manage the TC and the ABS, because if you use that a lot, you will kill your tires and get overheated. So I think that is the main issue on this car. Try to avoid it, all the assists. So I think you'll be good.
I suppose also the practice, you were saying there, you like to do around about 100 to 200 laps to really get a good feel for the car on the track. And I suppose it's dedication as well, and why you're up at the level that you're up at. And I suppose that's probably one bit of advice you could give for everybody that's saying they're struggling or anything like that is practice makes perfect, as they say, and I don't think there's anything more prevalent than saying that even in sim racing. It's super competitive, super realistic, and if you get that pedal and the pedal, what's the word I'm looking for? The muscle memory in your brakes for the track, I suppose it makes you a consistently fast driver, doesn't it?
Yeah, and practice don't only make you perfect, it make you also consistent. So you have the same braking point every time. Even if your tires are start to going away, you will have the same braking point. Maybe adjust a little bit on the brake bias, but you will have the same aim point for apex and everything, exit of the corner. But yeah, all about muscle memory.
So obviously, you joined this season 2 pretty late on. I think it was probably myself pushing your teammates to say, "Come on, get into season 2." But you came along, and how have you been enjoying it? And did you sort of expect to be in the position you are at the moment? And then also, is there any tracks that are coming up that you're really looking forward to?
I think this league is much fun. It's much what you gonna call it? It's fun, and everyone on track is okay guys to race with. I don't expect to lead. I hope to be top 5. And next round, yeah, maybe Rudskogen in Norway, my home track, but that's not a BMW track, so Mokes, you're gonna take that one, but I will do my best.
Hey, let's not forget Daniel as well. He really took it to you
Yeah.
at Watkins Glen and showed you. Certainly, he seems to be the master of night racing. I think Daniel is. So certainly, the Olympus Esports guys are challenging your IGL coach, and certainly in that pro standings for a bit of a fight going into second half of the season. It's going to be interesting as well. But obviously, you've got some really good teammates. We mentioned about Niels. We've had Lass on. We need to get Lass on again because we were plagued by technical difficulties, so weren't able to have a really good chat with him. But he was mentioning that he's good in the qualifying because we see all you guys really good in the qualifying, but he very much struggles a little bit in the race to maintain that that speed over the hour and 10 minute races, and we normally see him start up well at the top of the grid and then sort of slightly fall back towards the end of the race, and then you and Neil sort of take on the top two positions and you sort of stay there. You know, it's being a part of the team. Do you really get round sort of like Lass, for instance, and say like this is how you can improve and stuff like that? How are the team dynamics in IGL Coachings, and how do you sort of help each other out for each round?
We we work very well together. We have two regular practice days, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sunday, of course. I build setup with Lasse. Lasse is the main mechanic. He tells me what to do and I test. We what everyone has their own approach to each race. I need a lot of laps. Lasse need a lot of laps. Kjetil as well. But we work very well as a team. We give each other advices. I go through VRS with the guys, and we use VRS a lot. Telemetry, of course. So we use all the telemetry data we can use to make each other faster. And if someone struggle, we try to help them up to speed. Even if I jump into another car and test to make the setup changes if we need. So on Catalonia we help Kjetil with a Mercedes. So I hope that shows on quali, and yeah, IGL we will make the quali great again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat there. I can see Jakob Behrens has come in. Obviously, our last season, one and only Ford driver. I mean, I suppose, Jakob, I was a little bit disappointed that you joined in, but at least now we got Thomas in your place, and he seems to be doing an exceptional job there. And looking at Lass there, he does some stupid mistakes, but I suppose you all do. Even pros make the mistakes, and I suppose that's the difference with winning and sort of midfield is. Certainly on the longer races. So I suppose the sprint races, you're going all out, but the longer races, we've got the hour and 10, and then we've obviously got the 2 hour races. How are you finding them races compared to sort of like the normal sprint setups that you're probably used to in the super leagues, as you probably call them?
I like the endurance. It's not so much pit strategy. You need full fuel and you need 4 new tires. So yeah, and if you can fuel save, of course, but at the end of the race you need to splash and dash anyway. So looking forward, Nürburgring 2 hours. We will show what we are made of, and yeah, and the short one, 70 minutes is not short, but yeah, compared to 2 hours, it's a little bit more tricky.
Yeah, and then we got the mid-season special as well, with a collaboration between ourselves and Olympus. Little bit of fun, 4 hour endurance, a team of 4 drivers in each team, with the pros being the captain. But I suppose the difference is you don't pick your teams; we're going to pick them for you, and you're going to be in. So that could be quite interesting when it comes to who comes in what team, I suppose.
Yeah, actually I don't know anything about that one, so you need to explain what is that, and I only heard rumors, so you need to explain me.
Okay, so we have a mid-season one. It's already on the schedule. It's the special mid-season special. It is with, I forget the car now. Is it the Corvette? No, not the Corvette. Oh, I forgot what the car is. The Cadillac. It's a Cadillac CTS car. Fixed setup, Alton Park, four driver team. It's going to be made up of one pro am, one rookie. Hour racing between the team of 4, and you can choose whichever driver wants to take the first, but all 4 of you must do your hour stint. So it's certainly going to be interesting around Alton Park. So a classic track, not maybe a classic track for the car, but certainly is. But it's going to be a fixed setup, so there's no testing an advantage, and it's very much a mid-season fun, because I suppose these races get super competitive over a 12 rounder. So what we thought is halfway through it, we'll give everyone a little bit of break, a little bit of fun, and a chance to win a little bit more cash. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, who doesn't like that? Now that sounds fun. We need to look forward to that.
It will be good, and we're gonna be doing the teams on a special podcast pit stop that we're going to do, so you can all join in then to see who your teammates are, because we have got all the setup in the Discord channel for all you teams to join on there, so you can all chat to each other, have a bit of fun. But there's some decent prize money up for grabs as well for the top 5 teams, and some merch. Who doesn't like a good bit of merch anyway? Nope, they will be random teams from a big random generator from the sky, Casper. So it's going to be interesting. But one thing we always like to ask as well, Thomas, is tell us something about you that a lot of our viewers and a lot of the drivers won't know about you that you do outside of sim racing. So to give you a sort of flavour, we had an accordion player. We've had a national karate champion. We've had somebody that makes sim wheels. I'm trying to think of what else we've had. Somebody who plays the drums. So tell us something about you that not a lot of us drivers know.
When I was about 13, I was riding a horse. I was competing in a horse riding, so something called sprangridning. I do that in 5 years. I grew up on a farm. I'm a little farmer boy. So yeah, that's me. I'm
an equestrian. Thomas the equestrian GT3 driver. There we go.
Yeah. Riding a horse.
Suppose you're not in a Ferrari then.
Oh, no. Real horse this time. Ferrari is not a real horse.
Ferrari's not a real horse. Oh, don't tell the Italians that though. But no, I mean, thanks a lot for joining us, Thomas. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to whilst you're on stream? You seem to have a lot of support in the channels from your teammates, but is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, mate?
Of course, you guys make this happen. It's fun. Sande Trafikkskole, Elverdi, IGL Coatings, and IGL Coatings Iracing, and EK Sim for doing my 3D print. He has printed everything I have on my rig. New today is a spacer between the wheel and the wheelbase. He's 3D printed this one to me, so make my seating position a little bit more correct. So thank you.
Definitely. Well, thanks for joining us. And obviously our top pro driver at the moment with that big bullseye on the back of you. And I think it's going to be a cracking race and a cracking battle between you, Niels, Daniel and Scott. So I think that's going to be the top 4. But you never know. Somebody else could come from the back of the field and come charging through and sort of take you all towards the end. But no, great. Thanks for joining us, mate, and look forward to seeing you in there. So get back to a bit more practice. I'm pretty sure that you don't need it, but you can still do it anyway. Cheers, Thomas.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there was Thomas, our current pro leader in the championship at the moment. He's had an exceptional season so far in the opening 5 races. I think he's only come second twice and won 3 races. So certainly riding high in the league. But I think he's got a few more challenges now. Neil, his teammate, obviously probably give him a lot more respect than the likes of the Olympus Esports will be, because certainly after the spicy battle we saw between Thomas and Scott, certainly when Scott made that final passing move on Thomas, and Thomas's lunge down into, I think it was turn number 7 or 8, no, turn number 10 I think it was, after the long back straight. That was very, very spicy, but it's going to be some great battling, and you can see them all live here on Performance Link channel on a Sunday night starting at 7:45 every Sunday. So yeah, please join us there. And we're also up to around about hitting my mic, 449 subscribers. So who's going to be the lucky 450 subscribers? So if you like what you see, give us that thumbs up, click that bell, and think about subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate all the support you've all been giving us. Obviously still a young and fledgling league, but we've learned a lot from season 1, and season 2 seems to be better, and we can only get better from there. But obviously everyone's here to have a look at the penalties from the last round in Barcelona. Let's have a look at them. So it's just me on my own today. So what I feel like God today. What I say goes. So let's go over to the second. Yeah, here we go then. Welcome back, guys. Right, so we've got a few penalties, but it's interesting. We've got 3 penalties exactly the same. So we'll certainly, in fact, we'll get into that one now because it is the first one on the sheet. But I'll read all 3 of them out. So this is between 3 drivers. It's between Casper and Kjetil Larsen. Then Russ Fowler against Kjetil Larsen. And then Kjetil Larsen against Russ Fowler. So something as spicy has happened between the 3 of them that I think we sort of need to get into. So let's have a look at this. We can choose. Let's go. Yeah, there's Casper. There's Casper. Laps. Race. So the last lap. I can tell it's going to be spicy because it's going to be on the last lap, isn't it? Let's have a look. Whereabouts is it? Third to last corner. So we have at the front Russ Fowler, Kjetil in the middle, and Casper there at the back. So yeah, certainly is going to be a spicy one. This is for position as well. Yes, it is for position. They're all pro-ams here. Let's have a look. Certainly all together quite well. So third to last, that must be turn number 10. So we'll watch it from here. Let's have a look. Give you guys some music to listen to, why not? Okay. We can have a look at the front two in a minute, but obviously looking at this one, so what have you? Let's have a look. 3 racing. I'll take out P3 and also gives me a 4x. I've been holding behind multiple, so I didn't get to fight pro amp in front, even though I was faster. I mean, I think that's just unfortunate. I mean, obviously, to give you the 4x, he didn't obviously mean to get. Yeah, he's on the brakes there. He's sort of stopped, and unfortunately, he just tagged into the back of him, I think, there, Casper. So, not a lot. We'll have a look at the incident in front at the moment, but yeah, there's no penalty. Likewise, he didn't. If you can look at there, he stayed on the brakes. When we go in, we can slow it down. Well, it was looking very spicy, Tom, so I'll give you that. But yeah, so I mean, from that point of view, Casper, you can see here that Kjetil didn't reverse into you, was trying to stop. He was on the brakes. His wheels are not moving, and then you tag his sort of back end. So yeah, not a lot in that one. Let's have a look at what happened, the cause. Let's have a look in Do you know what? I'm sort of tending towards a racing incident. I'll tell you why. Because obviously in this stage, Russ is quite far ahead. Ketil, you're a little bit behind it. But if I play it and then slow it down. So there is an opportunity on the inside that Ketil's got. Obviously Russ is coming across the... Not cover his lines. But obviously taking the corner. Wasn't expecting the lunge probably on that corner. There was space. He didn't like he comes slamming across to cut it off. So you can see here, he's coming across. You're not close enough now. You're obviously braking a lot deeper. When was the brake markers? Let's have a look. Let's see when both drivers. Let's have a look when they both brake. Yeah, you can see there is that you brake a lot later than what Russ did into that corner. So if we watch the two brake lights, we can sort of see brake still not on, now you're on. Gives you that in speed there, but obviously Russ, he's not right over on the curb. He did probably see you coming through or trying to make a move and try to give you some space on into that corner, but you obviously the difference in the two speeds I think was there. So it's not the one where you just for me where you ramming into the back of him. There was an opportunity there, and then Russ does sort of slightly come across, so it was a bit of a lunge. It's a bit of a lunge into that corner that caught Russ out a little bit. It was probably wasn't expecting a trying to pass an opportunity there. So for me, I think that one's a racing incident because one, you went deep into the corner. Two, Russ gave you the opportunities, so there was an opportunity to get the pass and move. Russ probably didn't expect it. Came across, still gave you a bit of space, and basically come in. So that's why I'm thinking there's nobody really at fault here. I don't feel you broke quite late into the corner, which obviously gave the passing opportunity, and then Russ was coming across into the racing line, which is around this part of the corner. Probably caught sight of you quite late to be able to do so. For me, and you can see there, he starts to spraying out, so there is an opportunity to go on the inside, and then unfortunately, I think you both hit each other. So I think for me, I think it's a racing incident all round between the three. It's it's unlucky because I think it was turning out to be quite a hot race between the three of you anyway, out on track. But it's always, the last lap is always going to be a bit tasty, I would imagine. Having a look at what you guys are sort of saying. You're all in the same class, aren't you? So Ketil is... No, Ketil is a pro. I think it was probably an ambitious. I think it was... It's a bit unfortunate. I think Russ has got certainly... I mean, there was no real benefit, and this probably goes back against it. It is, to me, it is a racing incident, but it's also, you know, was there any need to sort of fight that hard when, like we all know, and all the drivers know, is the point systems are completely different to each of the classes. So for me to make that sort of move is probably unnecessary. It's not that it wasn't there to take, because it was. If Russ was over here on this line and he tried to force his way down the inside, then fair enough. But because Russ came across and there was contact made between the two drivers on the side, it is where it was. But there was no real need, I think, probably for Ketil to be pushing that hard in the final lap. It wasn't that he was going to get any extra points. I think probably all he has done and I'm not sure if both of them drivers actually lost out. So let's have a look. So that's what, P9. So that's a pro. So how many drivers get past us? Have a look. I think that's teammates there just giving them about realising what had happened. So I think it was 2 places. Was that 2 places? So it's all about respect. I think it's all about respect to the different classes. You know, if you've got nowhere, if you're nowhere in the race, but I suppose if you look at it as nearest competition. I've just gone right off it now. Bummer. I always do that, don't I? Let's just forward down. I suppose there was a pro driver behind Lass, but they're teammates as well, so they probably would have. So I suppose the only thing for me is the fact of. It's just the sportsman fact is that, you know, by that incident, by trying to do that little bit more move, you took out not only yourself, but you also took out one of the Pro-Am drivers that was obviously had a car behind him, that Casper overtook him. Then you had, so Casper overtook, let's see, so Casper and Christopher, so it was only 2 places. Casper and no. So he lost one place in there, wasn't it? There is, I suppose. I mean, it's borderline for me, I think, because, and I'll show you why, is that it's almost like, if we watch it here, it's coming up now, isn't it? So if you play it, Russ is right out wide to the left, so there is an opportunity there for an inside line. Now, because they are quite close, if I stop it there, they are quite close together. Now Russ is hanging out wide here on the outside of the line, so he's coming up here and then coming around. So Ketiel's coming up on the inside to possibly have an opportunity to get up the sort of inside of him. Now, if it was for the fact that, for me anyway, that Russ was further over to the middle of the track and he tried to make a move, then I think it's a fair one in my eyes. Now, because you could argue the fact that you can see he's trying to make a move there and then Russ comes across. That's why I'm taking it as Ketiel's gone deep into that corner. He's probably obviously thought he could break. Russ has come out wide to give him the opportunity to be able to do that. I think that's what I'm sort of seeing there. I think what makes it even worse is that's, although they would have hit, is there netcode involved there? Let's have a look. Good old pesky netcode. I think there is, you know. He's just all out, doesn't he? It's not from this angle. I mean, there's no doubt that they would have made contact, 100%. But just trying to find the best angle to see this netcode. So I believe that there is something, because there's no damage, I don't believe. Oh, there is damage there at the front, so. Do you know what? I'm looking at this. I think this is a level 1. He's trying to make the move on the inside. Yeah, there was there, so that's probably why it's not coming in. It is the side, or that's back side, and takes it out. And yeah, so I think for me, after reviewing it, and this is why I view it from different angle, guys, just to have a look, and make sure I am seeing where I'm at. Is I think that's a level 1 for Ketio. Because as we've said all season, as we said all season, is basically it's the car behind that basically has the responsibility to make sure he's either making a passing move or he tries to make a clean overtaking move. And I think he probably went in a bit too deep there. There wasn't, as I've said, there's no real need to be able to do that as well. So to me, I think that is a level 1, because there is contact, and obviously this driver in front loses a position on track because of this incident. Before there might have been a bit of netcode there. There was an opportunity, but it was a very ambitious opportunity. I mean, you can still see there is still room on that inside to be able to go up the inside closer. Yeah, so I think a level 1 is my decision for Ketio for that one. Watch it one more time to make sure I'm happy with myself. Yeah, I think that was. I suppose only you will know, Ketu, if you felt that was an ambitious move on the last lap. And like we said, if it was the same class, then I could say it, but there is that thing there. So okay, so for me that is level 1 for Ketil, so no further action on that one. No further action on that one. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's steer the car behind to make a safe pass. Yes, it is. He is 0% alongside. And he's my hero. Level 1. Yeah. Oh, there's Tom. Look, he agrees with me, level 1, so there we go. Okay. Alan Sandergaard and Gordon Haig. Let's have a look. Alan's impressing me at the moment, so I think you're doing a great job, Alan, on where you're putting your car, where you've come from, where you're in there. So I think Alan's my dark horse really for his class. He's certainly putting it up there, but again, it comes down to consistency. I think he just hasn't got that part of his game. I think it's where it is. Joe, and not Ketil, so he loses a car from the front. So Russ had Ketil for several laps. I mean, that's fair enough, Thomas, but then does it come into it that it's a little bit of frustration that Russ has sort of not let him pass? I mean, I know Russ personally anyway, and I know he's not a dirty driver. He will let people pass if they need it. But if the speed difference is not massive, like we've been saying, and there's not a clear and there's not being massively held up, then obviously the classes can race. But then you have the differences. You know, do you really need to push that hard? Have you got anybody behind you that's really chasing you up? I mean, we saw in that incident there that Kettiel did have somebody behind him, which was Last, which is his teammate, which pretty sure wouldn't have made the passing move on him. And the one further back from that was Tom Savage, who was an amateur driver up with the top echelon. So it just shows how fast Tom was in that race. And before people say he should get moved up, it's one race. You know, he is doing well in the championship, but, you know, people put the practice in, and we had it last season that, you know, people start to make that little bit of a gap, but you could see that the effort the guys were putting in. Right, so anyway, let's get on to this. Alan Gordon Haig, lap number 2. So Alan, lap number 2, and where's this? 4 corner. He tries to get on track. I see there's room on the outside of the track, and I try to go that way. He then suddenly puts it in reverse, and I can't get around him. So that's, assuming that's Repsol. Oh, there we go. So the classic, we saw this loads of time. If you watched it, and there's loads of different, loads of accidents around this Repsol corner. This seems to catch you drivers out quite a lot, actually. Right, so to me, he's got the opportunity to move here because on his relative, they're not coming around the corner yet. You can sort of see him now. Moving forward. Don't know why you didn't carry on going there, Gordon. You're doing like an Austin Paz 50-point turn. Right, to me, he's done the right thing there in the fact that he's seen on his relative, so he's trying to move. The way I'm seeing this, and I'll try it at normal speed so we can sort of see the whole incident. So if I play that, let's watch him there. So he spins, he holds the car till everybody's around him, then moves the car when he's got space on his relative. So he holds the car there, stopped, moves back, goes forward, comes back to try to get out, stops to try and give the opportunity for the car. But I think, like, if we watch on board with Alan, I think it's one of them corners that when you come around the corner, you just see a car. Let's have a look. Yeah, because it's sort of there that you can sort of see the car. So he is moving back, then he stops. and then obviously you haven't got an opportunity to move. If he's keep going back, then definitely that is a penalty. I think it's a bit of a hard one actually. Glad you're giving us some hard ones today, guys. Move that one back around. I mean, the beauty that we've got here is that we're looking outside the car, so we can sort of see what's happening here. I think if I'm looking at this one, I think he should have stayed there. You can see him on a relative. You realise, I think, and then basically stopped. But by that stage, there was nothing to do. So I think, for me, it's not a level 3 that we've seen previously. But as we've said before, if you get into the situation here, you got to make it clear and obvious that the driver coming up is that. But if you look here, you're actually moving when he's probably like 0.3 of a second or half a second, and he's got nowhere to go. So I think for me, that's a level 2, because if I look there, if I stop there, you've got Gordon, you've got ample opportunity to go on the grass and come round, and then what that gives is the racing line, which is naturally the outside. The problem I have here is that you reverse onto the racing line gives no option, because that's quite a fast corner anyway. There's no option for the driver to basically go anywhere. So I think by the definition of law, that to me is a level 2. Tom, as you're in the chat, I don't know if you're still there. Do you agree? It's not a level 3. I think he stops and realizes his mistake, but he's moved out into the path, out into the racing line, where if we look where he's at, there is opportunity to come round here and move back onto the inside to get the speed up. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the problem. If you had stayed still, sort of, even if it was there, I think, Gordon, but you sort of kept on moving. So you move forward. Is that the incident that happened? No. So this driver gets around because you're stationary. You try to make a move out, but there's another driver there. You did well at the start because you kept your stuff in, but then you came back onto the race, back onto the racing line. I think the driver behind you was committed to taking you on the outside because your car was on the inside. Done well there. You stopped, but then you went back out. You went back out, and then you came in. If you had carried on going forward there, you would have made that round. But then you sort of did an Austin Powers 10-point turn. Yeah, the main thing is for this, guys, and this is sort of one of the reasons why we look at showing you these replays as well, and it's not to, you know, name and shame people. It's also there to help you guys understand what you should do in these sort of situations. And certainly from here, when you have an incident like this, certainly on a corner like this, if you're down this end of the track, a lot of the drivers, when they come around here, will see you, but you're naturally coming further out, so there's an opportunity to go behind. So you always need to look at your relatives, but you can see here there is opportunity to just go it around there. Yeah, you may go on the grass, but what you're not doing is putting yourself in harm's way by looking at your relative, because that car there would have been around about, well, it was about a second behind if that, half a second behind that car, and then that's where the sort of issue went, and then you held on to your brakes. One thing I will say is I think at the start you did well by just holding your brakes there. I think you just didn't follow it through to the end. Well, I understand what you're saying, Simeon, but if you've had a spin, yeah, it is a spin, but you can't. If he'd stayed there and put his foot on the brake and didn't move, and the car behind him hit him, then the car behind him is his fault for not. And there's not saying that it'd be a penalty for the car behind, but he has the opportunity to get, and that's a move. If you've got a moving car, so if we look further back, and this is, if we look on board, bear in mind it's pretty much a blind corner, so in fact, if I go in the roll bar, I might see it a little bit better. If you come here, you can see him stationary there on the inside, so he's committed to going around the outside. By this stage, he's doing like nearly 80 k's an hour. You can't move your car that quickly in the Repsol, so he's already committed and made that. And this is what I would say to everybody: if you're on the racing line and there's cars in your relative, just stay still, because you cannot be penalised for the fact that you've had a spin and you stopped your car and you're not a moving target. The problem here is when he's coming around the corner here, you can sort of see he's stationary on the inside, and then all of a sudden he starts moving back around about here. So he's trying to go around the outside and thinking, where do I go? The issue you've got is you're trying to make a decision there in a split second, whereas you're already committed to the outside, and then he sees the car moving back. He's trying to move on the inside. So basically, the car that spins, if there's cars in your relative, then to let them pass. Gordon did have the opportunity to go down the inside, but and the only reason sort of this is sort of not the level three that we saw in Watkins, but if you remember, we had another one of these incidents from that round as well. I forgot who the two drivers that were involved in that one, but it's exactly this: is that he stopped, but then moved back into the path of another car. So just one for all the drivers is just keep your foot on the brake. Get that split second gap. If you had moved back to there and then the car was coming around and he saw you and chose to go down your inside, then that's fair enough. But when you've got cars that close to you, and this is the decision you need to make on Saturday, it's all in a split second. You know, I'm no expert driver. I would probably look at doing something like this or whatever, but I would expect to get penalised from that. Aim for where their car is coming from. Yeah. We can all be confident in what we need to do to avoid them. Exactly. Well, I would have slowed down away because I think the yellow flag is moving out the racing line. The problem is, and somebody mentioned about obviously the yellow flags in iRacing. They're not already adhered to it. It's like if you look at the blue flag in iRacing. In normal racing is to yield and get past, but in iRacing is to let you know. The yellow flag is there. Yeah, it's to be aware there's a caution in front of you, and it gives you that. And then it's up to you if you slow down. But what you can't account for is a car that you can see is stopped. You're beelining for the outside, and that car moves in front of you. You can't relay for that. So unfortunately, that's why the penalty has been given there. So for me, that's a level 2. Okay, next one. Alan again. I mean, Alan, you've been in the walls in this round. Lap number 9. What's this one? Corner 8. I go for the overtake, and he hits the sausage curb and gets pushed into me. So sounds like a racing incident. I don't know how many people got caught out by the sausage curbs around here. They are pretty savage. Let's have a look. Turn 8. Oh, that's the one up the top on the back straight, isn't it? lap here? Lap 2. Where's it lap 2? By the way, guys, you can obviously all, if you feel that my penalty is too harsh, and this is what we give you the opportunity to obviously put in a protest against the penalty, where independent adjudicators look at it and then decide to uphold or quash or make it even worse if I think I've been too lenient. But it's always there for you drivers to go against us. You know, like we say, we're not professional drivers, you know, or stewards, but we try to do. Oh wow, okay. What happened there? The dreaded. These are absolutely horrendous. So further back. Certainly that curb kicks him up, doesn't it? So just obviously looking at this is... I mean, they're both in the same class, these two, anyway. Yes, they are. So it's both fighting positions, P25, P26, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. It's this curb here. This sausage curb is absolutely horrendous, you know, and this is the prime thing. If you hit that, you normally bounce into the center of the track. What you would have done here, and this is probably for yourself if you ever drive this one again, is you can put your car in between these two. In between this curb, which you can ride around the outside and go up. Yeah, you'll be on the grass at the end, but you won't have this happen to you, which is pretty much a classic. You hit it, his front right hit, his wheels are off the ground, and he's got no way to avoid. Just want to make sure that he's obviously looking at that. Yeah, you can see him trying to turn to the right to make the corner. It's just that curb pitches him up. He's airborne. So do you extend yourself here into the corner? I think he's got, to be honest, I think he's quite conscious of the fact that Alan is closing in on him. And obviously that's why he gives him that room on the inside. But then probably doesn't realise how savage these corners are when you hit them. So he's giving him the space there, but it's pushed himself out quite wide coming into the exit, which gives him a lot of curb. Then he's trying to turn the corner and then just hits the corner of that curb, and unfortunately I think bounds into Alan. I think it's a very much a similar one to that first one. In that everybody knows how bad this curb is. I think to me it's no more than a level 1 penalty. That there is, you know, I think there's a bit of naivety from maybe Sam for letting him go out. Obviously he hits that corner and then bounds into the car, but Alan's obviously spun the car there. Is there any damage? Yeah, I think taking into the class. If this was a pro or a pro-am or even an am, then I would probably look at a penalty. So I'm just looking. I just don't think Sam knows how bad that corner is, to be honest. I think it's just an unfortunate mistake, one that Sam will probably learn from dearly now that he knows that. And it's not. I think to be personally, I think it's unfortunate he's hit into Sam or Alan. Sorry, it's such a tight one because if he hadn't have hit that curb, they would have. Well, Alan would have got past, and I think he had already conceded. If I look back here, you know, even though Sam is in ahead, you can sort of see that Alan is a racer. He does give him the outside line, so he gives the space there. He didn't close it off, and I think it's just a genuine mistake that he's gone over that sausage curb, and he probably didn't realise. So I think in this occasion, I'm going to put it down as a racing incident, but just be aware, guys. I think he did well there. He gave him the inside line, but compromising yourself this much on a fast corner is it's probably better places to let a fast driver through. At the end of the day, you were in front, so it was up to him, Alan, to make the opportunity or the passing move. You gave him the opportunity there, and unfortunately what you did here, you pushed yourself out onto a real treacherous part of this corner, this turn number 7. Was it the TS3 I think it is, or TV3, and basically hit that corner and then bounded off into him. So I think it'd be harsh if I penalise Samuel for a mistake. He did try to let him through. You can see here he could have cut that off, but he didn't. He kept out really wide to give the space to Alan, but unfortunately clipped that one. Now, like I said, if this was probably a pro or a pro-am, then I would say that would be a level 1 penalty, and because of the difference in experience between the two drivers, these are two rookie drivers out on track, so their experience is sort of limited. So I will put this one down as a racing incident, but obviously for future thing is thingy. So I think I'm going to play into the classes here in the fact that I think it was a genuine mistake. You can see he's still got room there. If I look on board in his cockpit, he's turning the wheel to make the corner. He's missed the corner. And then if you play it on slowly, it bounces the car up in the air. He's trying to turn the car around and he can't. It's not a dive. It's not a trying to get positions. I think he's just overextended the passing opportunity. But yeah, it's good lessons learned for Sam in that. Yeah, okay, if you want to let a driver through, you don't need to give probably this much space, and just pick your times that you want to give him the space. Because if you look here, you're basically on the right hand side of the track, and you stay out wide here. I'm just looking at your speed. Your speed's coming down. 120, 120, 12, 112, 110. Still coming down. Still coming down. And then you're starting to get on the acceleration here. But that accelerating you did there pushes you out into these. If they weren't there, there would have been no incident, but they are there, and they are pretty much bad. Oop. So I will now read what you guys have put. So I'm going to put this down as a racing incident. Hopefully he protests the ignoring blue flags and not the collision. Otherwise it's going to be reviewed. Yeah, they're fighting for position, these two. It's not that he's getting lapped or anything like that. It is for position. So Sam's 25 and Alan is 26. So this is for position on track. So there would be no blue flag. So racing incident. Okay, and then we got Kim Andre Borkland on John O'Cook. Right, so I'm pretty sure I saw this one in the discussions. Where's Kim? Where are you? Oh, there you go. What lap was it? Lap 8. So this is flashing, isn't it? I think. Also flashing lights at almost every lap. Okay, is that it? Turn 4, lap 4, Maria spins me out and was also flashing lights at almost every lap. So to me, it's open and shut, as we've seen many times this year. A level 2 for Jono. It's always the responsibility, guys, of the car. You can sort of see here that Kim is probably getting slowed down a little bit by Russ. But this car here, it's always going to be the cars, and I can't make it as simple as possible. It's always the responsibility of the car behind to make that safe passing move. If you hit into the back, like we're seeing here and many of the others, it's a straight out level 2. You can see it slowing down. You know, it's just trying to be as fair as we can do, but you know, I don't think there's any mitigating things there. Yeah, so that's level 2. But I did see a lot of conversations, and we'll have a look at this. And obviously, this was. Let me try a lap before. So that for me is straight out level 2. So always the responsibility of the back car. But I want to have a look at this, the flashing. So, like I've said before in the last podcast, guys, is, you know, we're not going to make a rule about flashing, because when does flashing become excessive or not? Where I would say flashing is, can we look at John's rejoin just to illustrate about cars moving when rejoining? What, from that incident? I mean, we're not looking at every other, or else we'll be looking at everybody's races as blocks. If people have got things where people are protesting for blocking can be a penalty offence if it's deemed excessive and under the braking areas like we've looked at previous. You know, whatever leads up to an event, we're not going to look at that, because whether a driver's getting annoyed because the front driver is blocking him, it's still the responsibility of the driver behind to basically make sure that he doesn't hit into the back of the car in front. There was no blocking on that fine. They were both on the same line. It's just unfortunately Jono hit into the back of Kim. And it may be that the fact that the car in front was going a little bit slower, so Kim had to check up his pace there. But it's always going to be the responsibility of the driver behind. People, if you do get angry and you're trying to make that move or whatever, then we can sort of but protest it. If you feel that somebody's blocking you for whatever reason, protest it, and we can have a look at it on this one to be able to do. But it's like we've always said on here, we've been crystal clear on this. You cannot go into the back of somebody else's car, or else you are looking at a level 2 penalty, unless there's absolutely any critical differences. I think Ketiel's protest talked about blocking and not just the last lap incident, but not sure if it's significant enough, even if there's something there. Well, it's not, because, okay, he may well, we're going over the old ground. If there is, I mean, he has to give more. He's just said he's just been holding me up for multiple laps. You know, okay, just because he's a different class and he's been holding up. If he's in a battle, which he is with Casper, you know, the pro driver should have the respect that I'm not in a battle with a pro. I'm going to let these two battle it out and try and make the passing move over. It even stipulates that in the rules that if there are two people, and this is obviously on a blue flag, I think it is, if I remember rightly, then it's a responsibility of the pro driver to get past the two fighting drivers in a safe manner. You know, it's not for the drivers to go up. I don't even think they were on different laps as well, so we're going back over all ground anyway. I want to have a look at these flashing. So we've not put anything in the rules about flashing. And I'll speak to Tom about this, whether we can clarify it up. You know, we're not going to penalise anyone for the flashing. But what I will say is excessive flashing just to put another driver off isn't sportsman conduct. And it could be deemed unsportsmanlike conduct, because there's no real need to do that. Let's leave the racing for racing and not causing mistakes by flashing somebody. Now, where I see flashing is acceptable is a passing car. So like if you're getting blue flagged, somebody trying to lap you's coming up behind you and gives you a quick flash to say I'm there onto the corners, then I think that's completely acceptable, and it is. Now, the other ones I'd accept it is if the driver is excessively quicker than the driver in front and he's just not letting him pass, then you can flash him to let you know, look mate, I'm here, just let me pass. If it's to try and put drivers off, my personal view is that I don't really want to see that, because it's you're trying to put a driver off. I know we're all here to put them under pressure when you're behind them, and I agree with putting them under pressure when you're behind them, but putting them under pressure and then flashing him, and I don't know. That my personal thing is, I don't think it should be there. So let's have a look to see what, because I did see this conversation in YouTube as well. So if I look at, so I want to have a look at the gearbox of. so that's 8. Can't see that. I need to go on this gearbox. I mean, even yourself, John, said you obviously did it. I'm not gonna. No, just want to see. Not sure what lap it was on. Not seeing any at the moment. Oh, there you go. I wouldn't say that was I suppose I wouldn't say that was excessive, and I think he was just letting them know that he is quicker. I thought it was going to be more savage than that, the way they were talking about it in Discord. I don't know. That's to go right. There is nothing in the rules against it, so we try and put people in there. I don't think it's excessive. I thought it was like flashing all the time, but it's not. I think the only one I've seen is that one flash here. I think it was. No, it's this lap. I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's this lap coming down after turn number 9. You can see, certainly see the marks, obviously better under the braking than what Kim is. I think it's here. Yes, that's sort of once. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that was excessive. You know, certainly not that there is. Yeah, it'd be worth looking into it. But I mean, what I don't like is when drivers just constantly flashing the lights at the driver in front just to purely try and put the driver off. I don't think that's sportsmanlike at all. But I mean, what I'm seeing here is very much. I think Jono was just letting them know that, yeah, I am faster than you, and you can see that by how close he's getting to him in the corners. And I think probably the turn in turn 4, maybe looking at this was I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Maybe it was a little bit of frustration to try and get up, and didn't realise that Kim. Can we hear? I mean, we're coming up to the incident now. Let's see if we can hear. I'm just seeing if you can hear, like, excessively braking from Kim's beat comp. So I mean, the flashing. I mean, my certainly stance is there. That what we've just seen there. That's not bad. You know, you could do that once. If you're constantly doing, then that's where we don't want to do. I think it probably is exactly that. AKM Racing, probably a little bit of frustration. He's quicker, and unfortunately just misbroke his. You saw that on the previous laps, how much the Mercedes were getting right up behind the Porsche when it comes into the braking zone, and then maybe that one little time he went in that little bit too hot, expecting the driver in front to be going a little bit. Now that was a Pro and a Pro-Am, and it doesn't mean that the Pro-Ams are going to be super. In fact, they're no, they're both. Oh no, they are both. They're both Pro-Ams, aren't they? Yes, yeah, they are. Is a little bit of frustration? It's quicker, but like I've always said, and we've always said, you know, it's a responsibility of the drivers behind to make sure that no incidents take place, because you've taken yourself out and the driver at the front has done nothing wrong as such. Maybe took a corner a little bit, but it's always about the frustration. That's where you see the pro battles. They are quite close to them, and I'm always looking at it saying, if that front driver gets it slightly wrong, then that's where it all is. It's a thing. Yeah, it is a misjudgment, you know, but the rules are there to state, you know, because the person in front is races probably might even get ruined by the one incident going in and having to tow back. So that sort of ended. So we try to make it that it's always the responsibility of the cars behind to make that sort of passing opportunity to get it done. But it's where we're at. So yeah, take a look at this protest. Yeah, I think that's it. Obviously, the one protest we had with the 3, that's been done. So, you know, the penalties have been there, guys. Obviously, you've seen my verdict. I put them onto the protest sheet. If you feel that slightly aggrieved, then obviously you can put in a protest or a review of the protest. Like I said, it's done by independent drivers that will look at it to either uphold or take the penalties away, and you know, that's where it is up to you guys to be able to do that. We're not saying we're professionals all the time, but it's where it is. On that, we're not professionals. Sometimes we do get it wrong, but I'll try to be as thorough as I possibly can be on these protests, to look at a lot of angles to come up with the decisions that I've come up with tonight. But hopefully it's all good. But you know, guys, that's it for the protests. Well, guys, again, thank you very much for joining us. I always enjoy our conversations in the chat. And good night, AKM Racing. I hope you sleep well. You know, and I thoroughly enjoy doing these podcasts to hear yours, and it gets us looking at it to make us better at when we're looking at penalties as well. But hopefully, it helps you drivers as well to look at things from a different perspective. Because everyone gets quite hot-headed when they're putting in the protest as well. So hopefully it gives a bit of perspective on that. But thanks a lot, guys, for joining me. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. Who's going to be that lucky, I think it's 350 or 450 subscription in our YouTube channel. But if you can, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Really appreciate it. We've got Imola coming up on Sunday. Hopefully you guys are doing plenty of practice out on track. We're going to really look forward to the race on Sunday. I think it's going to be entertaining. And who's going to be the unlucky sod that's going to take the first trip through the pit lane for their drive-through penalty? We'll see it on Sunday. But for me, just from me, I'm going to bid you farewell and look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Good night.